We'll begin with a moment of silence. Thank you. And Mike, if you would lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, review and adoption of the agenda. We have one change. We want to add about the request of erection of a sign for the museum on town property. We're making it, if somebody will make the motion to change it to 8C, and then everything else will bump down.
I'll make that motion to amend for 8C.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Approval of minutes, October 28, 2024, regular meeting minutes. Look over those and make a motion whenever you're ready.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for October 28, 2024, regular meeting minutes.
All in favor? Thank you. 5, public comment.
There are 2 signed up, but they're going to speak at the zoning public hearing. So I don't think there's any general public comment.
Okay. All right. Number 6, public hearings. I open this public hearing for 6A ZMA 2024-3 rezone property at 112 10th Street Northeast and 109 11th Street Northeast from R10 to R10 CD. Caitlin is going to speak first.
All right, so this is the same project that we talked about last meeting. I know there was discussion about property lines, so that's mainly what I'm bringing to you guys this time around. Was Kenneth, the property owner of 112 10th Street and 109 11th Street, had sent over the survey he had done. That should be in your packet. And then also he sent over the deed of the property for both Karen and Connie. So in the deeds, we have some of the measurements highlighted. And so those measurements, along with the survey that Kenneth had done, line up just about exact. So when you look at the property for Karen, the measurements, you have the 95, so that's on your left. You have the 178, that's the top yellow highlighted rectangle. And you have the 70 feet, that's the right. And then you have your 168 feet, which is that bottom red that you can see. And then the 234, and then again the 72 feet. So all of those measurements that are shown on the survey are pretty much the exact same measurements that are already on the deed that's taken from Burke County Registry. So those are the 2 legal documents for that. And then additionally, Connie's deed is also included in your packet. Her property is the one on the left when you're looking at the survey. It's a bigger tract. Again, we're looking at the measurements in those. So the 451, that's that top yellow rectangle. So the main one along the 112 tract. The 268, that's that right side. And then the 165 is the length up against the 10th Street, that line. So looking at the survey and looking at the deed, all of these measurements do line up. Also, Kenneth did include a overlay picture of the project that we looked at last time over the aerial photo of what the property is and showing where it kind of lays in relation to the neighbor's property. So you can see kind of where the line sits and where it cuts off, where that property line is going to sit, the 10-yard buffer line, and where the buildings and structures would lay. Other than that, I think that those were the main four pieces of documentation that Kenneth had provided for the council to review this time around, since they wanted that appropriate documentation. So we all know where the property lines sit and make sure that, all of it's correct and in order. Do anybody have any questions about any of these documents that we're looking at?
Those, 24 unit dwellings, the minimum size of 560 square feet, are those gonna be like tiny houses? That's really small.
Which ones are we talking about?
The
phase
phase two.
The phase two.
24 minimum unit size, 560 square feet.
That would probably be your like one bedroom units. Those like six, the max six that we talked about last time, that would be those. That's the minimum, so anything, the minimum size would be that, that's gonna be the one bedroom units we discussed.
So they're not gonna be like one on top of the other.
Well, they're gonna be more condensed, this is a high density development. So that's where that shared green space and stuff, those pictures that I brought last time, so they'll kind of be facing a shared courtyard space. So they'll have that green area and then it'll kind of be like parking in the rear. So it's gonna be set up that and that's phase two. It's gonna be more cottage court style homes.
Well, these ones we was talking about the other day, those were the bottom part of what the gravel and the other part was. Okay, see anybody say anything about that? I think they're gonna pave it, they'll pave it off.
Well, yeah, and they do have that one main street that is paved, but the other ones, there's some permeable surface questions I think that raised.
If so much is paved, it's, the rain is gonna just run off, it's not gonna be able to soak in. I mean, all the pavement and all the houses together, that's a lot of.
You know, I both know you put down gravel, take went out every day, it's gonna be a mud hole. I don't wanna see that. I mean, that's just my thought. I ain't trying to stop nothing.
I think we're required to have, impermeable or permeable surface, so I'm not sure what the density is, like per acre, and you can tell us.
And they'll also have a HOA with this housing development too. So anything with the roads, like any part of the gravel or anything won't be up to the town to maintain either. So that's something that'll be within the HOA community guidelines. That'll be something they pay for.
Well, I'm all with it. I just thought you pay this much up here, you aren't gonna pay this. I'm thinking, turn into a mud hole. I don't want to see a mud hole.
Right, yeah, so they would have maintenance agreements, so frequently bring in fresh gravel, making sure it's spread out. And then, like they were talking about the impervious surface, yes, it can cause runoff issues, especially for all the neighbors, the surrounding neighbors, if the water can't permeate into the ground properly, all that water is gonna run off to all the abutting properties, and then that could cause stormwater issues for them.
Okay.
That's why we got the impervious, permeable surface out of everything, all that slap block, I don't say it's gravel in it.
Okay.
Required.
That's fine. Long enough, somebody took care of.
That's it for me on that one.
Okay, does anyone else have anything to speak on this topic? Yes, come on up.
I'm curious and joining a border this new development property. The concerns we brought up last time, we still have those. We have contacted an attorney. We cannot meet with him until December 9th for a title search for that extra 16 feet up there that borders Connie's property. But that is December 9th before we can talk to him and try to get a title search done for that new deed that we believe was cut out that for some reason is not there and has not been filed. Also, one other concern that I have, the right-of-way that comes off of 10th Street is a permanent right-of-way into the back of my property also. So I just wanna make sure that that's not blocked from me when he goes to do whatever he does. And, I'll address that with the attorney too, but I do have the deeds and paperwork, but that is a permanent right-of-way into my property. So, do y'all have any questions for me?
You don't have a plat or anything of that, deed, that right away?
I have bunches of everything,
Oh,
and as far as what it is, I'm not fully understanding. But I know it's been that way forever, and that was designated a permanent right-of-way into my property. The only reason I didn't develop it when I got the property was the cost. Because then the stipulation was a 30-foot right-of-way, had to be paved and had to be paved all the way. But I do want to make sure that that's not blocked from my access.
Have you seen the survey that was in?
No, I have not.
You can have my copy, if you like. Is that right of way that you talked about, the 30-foot right of way, is that what's shown on there as the unopened 30-foot right of way?
Yes, yes.
That will not be blocked in the plan. It'll be open.
That's already of record, yeah.
Okay, so that's, so, okay. Any other questions or?
anybody have any questions?
I know that basically this is progress. We're not here to stop progress. We just want to make sure that what we've been a part of, owned and lived at for all our lives is secured. And we are fighting that. And we would ask Tom to speak with the attorney if that's possible. And that appointment is December 9th.
Yeah, to explain to y'all,
If you want to step up.
I tried to explain it to Mr. Orndorff too. My issue with the property line was when the property was divided up, my grandmother divided it up between all her children many, many years ago. And where the line between Mr. Orndorff and I runs, my uncle, the piece that Mr. Orndorff owns now was my uncle's. And he decided that because if it ever was developed, he wanted to make sure that nothing could be moved over onto my mom's driveway or anything else. So he had it resurveyed and the line was moved over. Both the stakes are there. Apparently, from what the courthouse said, the second survey that moved the line over to protect my mom's property that I own now was never filed. And that's what we're trying to find is some kind of proof that that survey was done and the stake was moved over, because there are two stakes there. The one that Mr. Orndorff goes by is the one that apparently is on this deed. But the other stake that I've always known was the property line because my uncle showed it to us. He told me about the resurvey and everything. He has since passed away. So I don't have him to go back and see if he has any paperwork that shows what he had done. I don't know who dropped the ball and didn't file it, but I want to make sure, even though the deed says it, that we have, that Mr. Orndorff has, y'all have, that he does not get to come over 16 foot onto my property and take my driveway, you know, where everything's been sitting there since the 80s. And there's never been a dispute over it because that's where it was. That's where it was moved to. That's my concern.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm not
understand
trying-
your concern, but how do you go about
that's
this?
the reason I got an appointment with a real estate attorney who said he would do a title search and stuff and see if he could find anything else that the courthouse doesn't have on file. That may be a fruitless effort. I don't know. But that's my concern with my property line. I'm not trying to stop progress either. No, I don't want 44 houses there. That's, like I said, that's still too much, but I'm not trying to stop progress. I just don't want to have to give something away that's been mine for all these years, and my mom's for all those years before I bought it from her. So that's where I'm coming. That's, I just want y'all to know that's why I have an issue with it.
You know about what year that survey was done?
Last year, the first ones were done in the 80s. I think the property, my uncle eventually sold the property. The surveying company that did the surveys went out of business. They died. Their records were destroyed, is what the courthouse told me. The company he sold it to went out of business. It no longer exists, and we cannot find anything from that company who bought it. Like I say, the courthouse said there was evidence that a resurvey was done, but it wasn't filed. I don't understand how that works, how you can have evidence it was done, but it not be filed. So I'm the legal stuff has got me.
Hopefully you'll find that, because even if a survey was done, you still have to get a deed to give you
Yeah.
that 16 feet or whatever. If
Yeah,
there wasn't,
and
and that might be what happened.
so somebody may have a copy of the deed somewhere that, like I say, my uncle passed away, these companies went out of business. If they had a deed, it was destroyed when the records were destroyed. I don't know. Thank you.
Does anyone else have something to say? Come on up.
Good evening, I'm Ken Orndorff, the property owner next door. One thing I provided in the packet was a couple of deeds, one of which was from her to some other parties in 2019. So as recently as 2019, her property was deeded to herself and some other parties using the same documentation or same property lines that my survey showed. So 5 years ago, that property line was as it is today. And nothing was recorded, filed at the courthouse. I don't know what to do. Like, I've got title insurance, I've got the survey, I've got deeds, and I'm not pursued it because I don't think it's in my interest to try and prove that I'm right. But if they can prove me wrong, they'll probably do it. But I provided the survey and deeds that match the property description.
Okay, anybody else on this topic? Okay, we'll go on to ZMA 2024-4 rezone property, 8937 Bridges Avenue from R10 to R10 MHO.
Okay, so this property, we had a property owner who came in probably a couple months back and was under the impression he thought he had tore down the existing mobile home that was on his property several years ago and thought that he would be able to put another mobile home back on. This property does not fall within the mobile home overlay district. It is surrounded on the right side by several properties that are within the mobile home overlay district. So I did inform him that he could reapply to have this overlay put on his property. So that is what he's done. He's going through this process. So looking at the aerial images, here's is that rectangular one that's highlighted in yellow. And then on the bottom aerial one, all those properties that are circled in the black circles, they are all within the mobile home overlay district. Not all of them have mobile homes on them, but they all fall within the mobile home overlay district. The one right across the street from him does have a mobile home on it. The one at 8957 does have a mobile home on it. And then down the road, that like cluster right there, that's like a little mobile home park that's happening right there. So basically, he's just asking, he's already in the R10 district, which is where we do allow the mobile home overlay district. So he is asking to have that extended on his property so he can put a new mobile home on there. I think that this is a good recommendation, considering it does touch other properties that are already within the mobile home overlay. If it didn't touch any other properties that weren't in it, I would not recommend to council that they approve this. But I do think since it borders it, and he did once have a mobile home, or a mobile home on the property, and that's what he's looking to reestablish there, I do think that it's consistent, with our zoning and the type of development that's happening here in Hildebran.
Okay. Any questions? Does, anyone else have any comment on this topic? Okay, hearing none, I'm sorry.
Do we need to make a motion to approve it?
No, we'll do that down under 7.
Okay.
So 6C, and I see here that it's been postponed.
It's not needed at this time.
Okay. All right, so then, I will go ahead and close this public hearing. And we will move to 7, old business, 7A, consider approval of ZMA 2024-3. What is the pleasure of the council?
I'd like to make a motion to approve. That's for the 44 unit location. It's not really council's purview to decide property lines and deeds and titles. Ours is basically just zone. So we should go ahead and zone it, I believe, to accommodate that. And if there's some issues, legal issues, that's something they'll work out. It's not anything we can decide. I mean, none of us here qualified to decide property lines. So based on that, I'd like to make a motion to approve. I guess I need to read this statement. Mike Street makes a motion to approve the applicant request to rezone property located at 112 Kent Street Northeast from R10 to R10 CD. The board finds that the proposed map amendments is consistent with the town of Hildebran's comprehensive plan. This rezoning encourages high density multifamily housing within R10 district. Additionally, the request is for the public's interest because of the much population growth and economic development for the town of Hildebran.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Okay. We will go on to 7B, consider approval of ZMA 2024-4.
I make a motion to approve that. I'm Jody York, make a motion to approve the applicant's request to rezone the property located at 8937 Bridges Avenue from R10 to R10 MHO. The board finds that the proposed map amendment is consistent with the town of Hildebran's comprehensive plan. This request is in the public's interest because it ensures consistent development, specifically manufactured homes within this portion of Hildebran.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, 7C, update on Royal Park and auditorium renovation projects. And Logan has provided a memo.
Yeah, and I'll go over that memo real quick. So Bach and I met last week to look at the auditorium. At this time, we're finishing up some redrawings, or Bach is finishing up with some redrawings. We plan to post a notice probably later this month or early next month. I put in your memo that we were hopeful to get bids back in December, but due to the holidays, that'll probably be pushed off to January 20th is the day we're looking at now. In terms of the park, DDI is significantly finished with most work. They have a little bit of paving left to do. They have some partitions, some fixtures in the concession building that have to be finished. And then they have the lights and the ceiling to put up in the stage. So we're moving along pretty quickly with auditorium, or with the amphitheater and the other amenities at the park. The splash pad was not part of, DDI's purview. That was something that we're overseeing. So we did select a bid on that last month. I met with Rick Funk of Splash Pad USA this past, week or the week before. They can have most everything done by January of the next year, but there has to be a consistent temperature of at least 50 degrees before they can pour the non-slip resistant pad on the top. So most likely the above ground equipment or the above ground features, the actual physical features, and the pouring for that non-slip surface won't happen until March. But the pad won't be open until Memorial Day anyway at the earliest, so that's still 2 months ahead of 2 months ahead of when we need it, so we should be good there. But other than that, I can take any questions.
Will you be able to submit the full reimbursement?
So I
That pad like, yeah, that's what.
No, that's a good question. You can go ahead and submit it once it's been billed. However, I did speak with, Blake Covington at Part F. He's our region's, consultant. He mentioned since we're this far through and since the expenditures are at this point, I think we've done what, close to $1 million? We've done close to $1 million. So at this point, his advice was to wait until the end. Given that we have enough funds in the account to go ahead and finish out paying for the project, he said to make it easier, if you're this far through, just submit one reimbursement request. So they'll hold 10% until all the items are finished. So you could theoretically get back 90%, but at this point, you might as well just wait to get the full 100 back at one time.
No problem.
Okay, this, okay, the next, where am I here? 7D, consider approval of change order with DDI of Hickory for Royal Park upgrades.
Yes, so if you will go to your attachment, should be 7B. I did ask the mayor to pay for this out of pocket, but he refused. So.
How much was it again?
Well, just-
How much you gonna mow?
Just 82,000.
Oh.
But he was not willing to bite on that. So some of these things are extremely necessary. Others are things we would like to do if council sees the value in it. If you will go ahead and turn to the second page. So this paving proposal has itemized change orders listed by project. So the first one, well, let me go through the numbers. So you've got one for 8,900, you've got one for 6,200, one for 27,000, one for 8,500. A sealing and striping of the lower parking lot, that's 5,000. A number for 1,380, one for 7,700, and one for 16,000. To make it easier, we'll kind of go through the pictures that follow it. So page 3, if you're looking at it, paving proposal for the lower annex parking lot. So from what I understand, and this is what Rick and Alice have told me, when we paved the upper annex parking lot, we did not pave the lower section, the one that faces First Street Southwest. So the pictures you're gonna see, the next 1, 2, 3, 4 pictures, the first 3 of the next 4 all have to do with the line item of $27,000, and then the line item $5,060. What that's going to include is demo, repaving, and then striping that lower parking lot of the annex that's on First Street Southwest. As you can see in that on page 3, the first picture, there's what I wanted to do is make sure you understood this was not damage done by DDI. So these are actually Google.
It's been there for a while.
Yeah, these are Google Street photos from 2023. Yeah. Okay, so I'm preaching to the choir. So that's good. So you know. But anyway, so those first three, we're gonna have to do with those two line items. That amounts to about 32,000 of the 82. That's pretty necessary. If you go to the fourth picture, paving proposal, lower annex entrance to the right. This is something that I spoke with Rick about, and we'd actually repaved this, fixed this 3 years ago.
For more than that, I think.
4 years ago, 5 years ago, but you can see what it looks like now. This is one we've worked on, but when you've got the trucks, when you've got the youth groups that use it, and then you've got the water that runs in on it, that's what it's looking like as of 2 years ago,
That's actually
or a year and a half ago.
cold through there too.
Yeah, so that number, we had not just proposed to pave that and fix it, but also put some type of concrete barrier that keeps trucks from moving across it that speeds up the damage and the deterioration. So that number by itself, that was 6822. That's what line item that was associated with. If you go to the next picture, now this is one of the ones we've asked about. This one's more elective. We probably need to do something. I asked about a gravel layout for this side here. And the other side of the maintenance building. That gravel number is somewhere between 6,000 and 8,000. How much you're gonna have to spend in gravel to gravel those two, allegedly. Now, we could probably get some quotes and see what that number actually falls into, but for the 16,362 number, the image with the two trucks in the maintenance building, what we talked about with them is paving that up into the sidewalk, the new sidewalk that'll be put into the right side of this, and then up to the base. Because what you're gonna end up having is you're gonna have, whether it's HHDA or Hildebran Actor Little League, the two youth groups, and us when we have to access stuff, but specifically with those two, having trucks that come up to those bay entrances. The main issue is anytime they cross the sidewalk. So if you've got a piece of sidewalk that then runs into gravel or dirt, and you have wash away, you're gonna start to eat away at the corner of that sidewalk or the edge of it. So we had asked them to give us a number on what would you charge us to pave that up into the sidewalk so that you've got, you have a continuous surface that you're moving across. So that was 16,000. And it would leave us a little room to do some planned beautification, but it would be a lot of paving. And what you would have for access is would actually come up behind where Sharon's, where the parking lot ends behind Walk and Roll. They would come up behind Walk and Roll and access it from the top instead of having to cross over that sidewalk. That's what we would prefer. If you go on to the next picture, this is one that we're gonna have to do. This is at the entrance of the auditorium from First Street Southwest. Damaged considerably, potholes cracked. That number, the associated number with it was 8,500. If you look at the next photo, paving proposal, auditorium rear restriping. That is your smallest number, 1380. As you can even see in that picture, you can hardly see the striping in the picture. So it's the fact that we're getting ready to do the auditorium as a project, it might be a good time to just go ahead and have that restriped. If you go to the picture following it, auditorium rear paving, the section you're looking at here is actually the gravel section that's behind the maintenance building. And then you'll see the dumpsters towards the very center of that image. This number, 8,967, it would encompass three things. So one would be the paving up until the dumpster point. It would be a concrete pad for the dumpsters just due to long-term maintenance, putting those dumpsters on and off of pavement versus concrete. Concrete's gonna last longer, so they've advised if we're gonna pave up until that point, then pave concrete once you get to the dumpsters. Then it would also come with your barriers, your little concrete triangle barriers that go up against it. So they would remove the wood that's there now and put those back. Then if you go to the last two pictures, those are pictures of the front parking lot of the Albert Parkhurst Municipal Complex and parking for the auditorium. This is probably one of the ones that we want to heavily consider, if not consider all of them, but this is definitely one of the more high priorities. You can see the cracking on the second to last page pretty clearly. We have had that resealed as of, Rick doesn't know how long it's been, but we've had it resealed at some point, fairly in the last 5 to 6 years. It's gonna need to be refilled and resealed. In certain spots, it'll probably deteriorate quicker. You'll probably have some spots that last a little longer, but filling and sealing it now will probably buy you time, will most likely buy you time between now and your next paving. And for the price of $7,700 versus what you're looking at in that lower parking lot of $27,000 for just 21 spaces, it may be worth doing that as a maintenance item. But that's what we have. The total, if you wanted to do it all, would be $82,000. There will be some portion, I know we talked about last month, there will be some portion of savings that will go towards most likely this number. It's just hard to say exactly what that number is. And you just kind of want to keep a little bit in your back pocket. As Councilmember Stroop knows, just until you finish out, just have a little bit left just in case. So we would be asking for the full 82 in addition to the current contract. You'll likely see some of it come back even if you approve all of it, but not the full 82. That's all I have.
I just have a couple questions. Like on the first picture here, they proposed a lower annex, says 3 potholes, but it says like the pavement spider web broken up real bad. What are their plans? Are they gonna dig that out and
Yeah.
patch it right, and not just gonna put a coating over top of it where it show back in 6 months?
No, it's gonna be demoed.
Put a binder in there and the surface on.
I think it had, yeah, they'll put something down, they'll demo this out, put a layer down, and then pave over.
Yeah.
But this will be demoed out, this won't be,
Yeah, if you
This won't be
pave over top of that, it's just gonna be right back. That's all. Same thing with this picture here on the next one. That has to all be dug out, all this broken up stuff. So I guess that's all built into the price, correct?
the demo, the paving, and the restriping.
The
Yeah.
subsurface and the surface.
Yeah.
So all we're talking about there, we deal with it up, right?
Yeah.
So that mark looks in bad shape, it all needs to be tore up.
Yeah, it will be.
That's what we know. And on the lower annex entrance right, on the left side, you're talking about putting a concrete curb in there? Is that what you're talking about doing, or to keep trucks from going through there?
Yeah, that was,
Prevent the wash too.
well, the other benefit is it keeps the water from going right up to the pavement, from washing out, so yes.
Keep people from dropping off on it.
If that water keeps running out, it's gonna keep breaking.
Rather than right.
Now, the one for the maintenance building entrance, just showing the picture with the gravel and stuff, you talking about paving, or are you just talking about paving just the gravel area, or are you talking about paving the whole area? What?
Yeah, the majority of that would be paved. You can kind of see in the grassy area I don't even know if you can tell, but it's actually like a stormwater.
It's like a little culvert. right?
Yeah, culvert. Yes, that would all be paved.
That whole thing. And you wanna bring cars in from up between the two buildings and down the
Yeah.
front of it, as opposed to kind of into the parking lot.
Keep them off the sidewalk, yeah.
So is there gonna be a barrier there to keep cars from driving through the parking lot into the?
We're looking at a fence.
A what?
So one of the things I'm working with the engineers on is a fence, and where exactly throughout the entire park can we put that fence? But yes, there would be some type of barrier, whether it's a fence or the columns that you can put up to keep them out. But yeah, there would be some sort of barrier to keep them out.
And the only other thing that want to ask about is the rear parking lot and the front up there, near the front up here. If we're gonna be doing construction out there, I know that we're looking at building a green room on the back of the building. Is that going to, I mean, we're not gonna pave it until after the construction's done, or we're gonna do it before and then hope that they don't tear it up when it comes through there with the heavy equipment?
Well,
Big
so
loads.
that's something we mentioned to them, is there will be a project that comes forward. But the backside of it, we're not doing any paving, but we are doing, and we're not even doing any sealing, filling and sealing on the backside. The only thing we'd be doing the rear of the parking lot of the auditorium is striping.
Okay, we're not repaving it, we're
No.
just dropping that.
Right.
Okay. And the front up there, just talking about paving that one, this is on this picture here. Paving proposal auditorium front, you're talking about repaving that?
No,
Supposed to be for the green room,
no, that's gonna be sealed and striped. The front of the,
that's just gonna be sealed, right, okay.
yeah, this out here up front, yeah. It's a little smaller print, but if you look under paving proposals, sealing and restriping 7705.
Yeah.
I should have maybe bolded that.
I don't like this. I'd like to make a motion to approve, the was it $82,000?
It was 81,999.
$81,999, for repairing and, surfacing the striping parking lots and stuff, our areas around here.
Okay, all in favor? All right, thank you. We're going to 7E, choose Duke energy light, street lighting option for Royal Park. And those pictures are in your packet. And I think Logan has handed out your preferences.
If you will, rank them from your favorite to least favorite. Once you have round one completed, pass them over to Wendell, he's gonna pass them to Jared, he's gonna pass them to Alice, she's gonna pass them to me. We're gonna quickly, as long as you know your favorites, narrow it down to 2, and then we're gonna pick a favorite.
There you go.
And if we have a tie, unfortunately, Wendell is gonna be your tiebreaker.
Oh my. I better look at this.
Be careful how you.
They're there forever.
I know. Okay. I know which I like best anyway, so.
It's like that.
It does.
It looks like it would, yeah.
But as far as more decorative, that's more decorative. The manufacturers, but they're just the light place.
They're all 50 watts.
This
Yeah, they still have a little more wrought iron to them than the others.
I didn't know if it was frosted glass or clear glass.
Hagerstown will probably be the most clear. That was option 2.
You see it?
See a lot of shine.
Yeah,
I didn't think mine.
Yeah, option 2, that's a lot.
See the choices. Okay, that's what we're going for.
Streetlights. You see? It's the most decorative one. More than that, function, man. But.
Okay. The two that you will be voting on your round two to decide is option number 4 or option number 3. Those are the only two you got left.
4 or 3.
4 or 3. The Monticello or the Deluxe Traditional.
You like that one? And
And if y'all tie it up, Wendell's gonna have to take the blame for it.
Oh, I've already decided. Which one I pick?
I don't wanna be swayed. Oh, Lord. I'll just say to him.
You wanna look at it?
Okay, is that everybody's?
Yep. Yes, sir.
moving on. More function than our passion.
I'm not a football fan, but did you see that Panthers game yesterday?
Yeah.
3 points.
I'm not a Panthers fan, but he knows something similar to that.
I just thought it was kind of weird, so they do it so bad.
I'm on last 3 years straight behind.
Hell,
I still get full thing.
They'll be doing. No, they don't. Never been to.
All right, we have a tie, Wendell.
Yeah.
Option 4.
You want option 4?
Yeah.
no.
Do you wanna hear from the crowd and reassess, or?
That's okay.
All right, that's it.
All right. Now, we get to choose playground equipment. 7F, choose playground equipment for Royal Park. And that's in your packet.
We have a budget of $18,600, unless you wanna spend more.
Well, first of all, I would like to say, I don't like any of them. Do we have other choices?
Well, so if you wanna spend more, yeah. And there
Out of my
could be
pocket.
some additional options or windows, Bill volunteers.
Do what?
Take it out of my pay.
The thing about it is, so when we had discussed it, it was either at the last budget retreat or the one before it. We had talked about it being a smaller, not climbing, not sliding type playground. We have the one that's up the community park that has all your slides, your climbing, your jumping, your hanging, stuff, and we didn't want to duplicate that. So at the time, it was decided on that we're gonna do a music. It was gonna mainly be focused around music with maybe one item that's more sensory. So maybe a tic-tac-toe or a little racing wheel or something, that maybe isn't audible, just in case you have a kid that doesn't have the ability to hear.
I think one of them,
Needs to be for the
for the handicap, that ought to be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I don't see nothing else in for handicap.
Yes. I agree with you.
The other idea is if you did not want to do music, there are definitely 4 to 5 items that are all gameish in a way, sensory, touch, feel, that we could fit within that budget.
They're gonna be more like these, just panels.
A lot of them are panels. In fact, I would
That's
believe
like our only other options.
they have variations on that. Those are not your only 3 variations, but you start to get limited in the sensory panels. But
Are
you do
those
have,
things that more than one kid can use at a time? Because most of these are just like, just one child can use them, yeah.
technically, yes, I would say some of them are gonna be restricted, like tic-tac-toe, for example, is at least a 2 primary. So the musical stuff, yeah, you've got multiple kids that could play it at once.
Two, but it's John, Phil.
They're not gonna play the way we play where it makes sense a lot of times, so.
One on the front page too.
But the other idea too is if you would like to, take no action and get more items sent to you between now and next meeting, we could pick it up at the next meeting after you've had more time to go through it.
I'm sorry, on the second page, all on the page,
Are these, any of these in particular, are they accessible? I mean, some of them look like they might.
They all fall under everything we gave you falls under the playground manufacturer's accessible, catalog section.
Can I take a look at them? Just simply because of some look accessible and are not.
Some of those may depend on what the surface is. I mean,
Yes, so.
Yeah, all of these will be on concrete, so you're not gonna have anything that you climb on and jump on. Go airborne, or you should go airborne. We can't just let it slip on the stage.
I mean, something like this. Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, we have time, we have until next April.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to take time this meeting and move it to the next,
So in other words, figure out, we got 18,000, right?
18.6 exactly. You got 15 in your budget, and then you had Texas Fish Camp provide $3,600 sponsorship.
Are you gonna get us some more papers for the sensory ones as opposed to the music ones?
Say that one more time.
Are you gonna get us some more samples of like
Yeah, we can.
as opposed to
Would you mind if I take a look at some equipment as well to make some recommendations? Would you mind if I take a look at some other equipment as well and making some recommendations?
Fine.
Particularly for, I know the park is set up pretty much for younger children, but we have a lot of our adults with special needs. If there was something that they could enjoy as well. that might be an option that other parks don't have.
Yeah, we won't have that anymore.
You know, because a lot of these may be very accessible for our younger ones, but in order for everybody to access the park, it's an opportunity for some of our older individuals to enjoy it. There may be some other things we can do.
Yeah, bring this on. I like it.
You can keep it, I'll get another copy of it.
Okay.
All right, so we're at this time taking no action.
The access that you do.
Okay, 8, new
This
business.
company that
8A, consider approval of amendment to flood damage prevention ordinance.
Me again. So back, probably about the summer, we had a floodplain audit, so we had someone from the state come by. Everything checked out good. The main thing would be to need to update our flood prevention ordinance. So I have included that on here. I didn't include the full thing because there's only certain sections that are gonna be updated. So the first one is statutory authorization, and that's staying relatively the same, except that they included chapter 160D in this now, so that's being updated. And then section 3, article 3, section B, basis for establishing the special flood hazard areas. A lot of that is staying the same too. The main thing that they've included in here is the DFIRM panel, including a digital data developed as part of the FIS. That's different from what was originally there. The last time this was done was like in 2007, so I don't think they had those then. And then the remaining things that are being updated are throughout a couple different sections, but they're basically these FEMA forms. So they used to be called FEMA Form 8165. So now they're FEMA Form FF-206-FY, a lot of numbers and letters. And so that's being updated in the application requirements, and then again in certification requirements, they've updated those forms, and in flood-proofing certificates. Those are the main, just the main things they've been updating. Wanted us to get this updated by the end of the year. So we've already ran it through the planning board, and now it's just coming to you guys for final approval.
All right, what's the pleasure of the council?
Make a motion to approve amendments to the flood damage prevention ordinance.
All in favor? Thank you.
Along with some next.
8B, presentation of homelessness response team.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have some, I'm used to doing this in a slideshow, so I'll just print them out. We'll go through quickly because some meetings run a little long, right? So we'll go quick. Normally give this presentation in 2 hours. We're going to do it in 45 minutes. Just kidding.
We hate you.
I know there's a good ring. I don't think there's anybody here that wants to follow along. It's the only one I got. We made 10. So you guys want to share. So sorry. Oh, that's fine. Oh, I've got more, actually. So thank you for having me again. My name is Ben Willis. I am the Director for Community and Economic Development. And I was asked, I believe Mr. Shook said, hey, why don't you come and talk about the homelessness response team that we have established, and we're kind of approaching our first year being in. So I want to quickly summarize some of what we've done, what we're all about. So the About Us, you guys know what the Western Piedmont Council of Government is, and I think this is important for people that are not familiar with who we are and what we do. We serve 4 counties: Alexander, Burke, Caldwell, and Catawba counties. We serve all the municipalities in all 4 of those counties. Basically, it's 28 local governments, including this one. And so we have services. We provide planning services. We provide transportation. Council does also through planning. Area on aging. You go through any of your senior centers, those funds funnel through the COG into the senior centers throughout those 4 counties. The Workforce Development Board, if you go and you what used to be called the Unemployment Office, that runs through the Workforce Development Board. Workforce Development Board is housed in the Western Piedmont Council of Government. If you are, Section 8 housing, Regional Housing Authority runs through the Western Piedmont Council of Government. Then you have my department, which is Community and Economic Development. Community and Economic Development, we do a lot of things in housing. We do a lot of economic development projects. We've helped you guys get some grants. We're working on some other grants to be able to help finish the park and do the auditorium. So we're all the time looking for that, whether it's infrastructure or downtowns, you name it. That's sort of my house. And then also under my umbrella is the homelessness response team, which is what we're talking about tonight. And I think it's important to see why all those services that we provide are key to helping with the homeless population, right? The goal of what we're trying to do with homeless is to get them off the streets and into a home. And so in order to be in a home, you have to be able to have a job, to be able to sustain the payments to live in that home. And so you need those sort of things. The amount of seniors we see on the streets is something that I never really realized until we got into that. So it's nice to have all those folks that are literally under Hildebran and I's same umbrella to be able to go down the hall and talk to any one of those and work with them to be able to help solve this. Not, you can't solve it, but to help remedy some of the folks that we deal with. So I'm on to the next page, how we are funded. That's always important. How are you getting money to do this thing? Well, we had this little thing called COVID-19. I think y'all remember that 3 or 4 years ago. I can't believe it's that long. It seems just like yesterday sometimes. And a part of that, we were able to apply for funding. The government did all that, the American Rescue Plan, the ARPA funds. And that came out, and a part of that came through to be able to help fund folks doing homes. I think they were able to see that the numbers were trending, that it was going like, man, this is going to lead to a lot of homelessness, so what can you do about it? We applied for the grant and got it, and it was $4.2 million. $4.2 million to serve the 4 counties that we serve. We asked you guys, we asked the elected officials. Ultimately, you guys are our bosses. We listen to the local elected officials, we listen to the managers of the towns. We do what you ask us to do. And this, you said we want to do something different. And you guys suggested that we take on a more comprehensive approach. And so it was brought to our attention. Sarasota, Florida had a model that several of the managers went to the managers conference, the ICMA conference, and heard from Florida, and they're like, we need to do this. And basically it's navigators. So the homelessness response team are folks that we put out into the field that help navigate people who are on the streets to the services the local services that are there for them. So if you're homeless and you're in Caldwell County, we try to connect you with the services that are there in Caldwell County. If you're homeless in Hildebran, we try to find the resources that are here at a local level and connect them with the resources that are there for them to help get them off the streets. And so that's sort of what we came up with, and that's how we developed this program. The key practices there is what I'm on now. Number one, we work for you. We work for the local governments. We do what you guys asked us to do. And so any input or any type of feedback we appreciate and will always take in. We are supportive of law enforcement. Law enforcement are the first in line when they have to deal with homelessness. So they are critical and a vital piece to dealing with this population. And we've done participated in several ride-alongs with many of the law enforcement in all 4 counties. Not all of them, but several of them. Regional coordination is essential. That is key that we start sharing our resources and we'll look at this as a regional, because if what we see with this population is they're transient. So they're moving around all the time. So you can't just say, kick them down the road and they're your problem. It's not going to be like that. These guys are moving back and forth all around. We all need to work together and come up with a regional solution. And that's kind of what we're always looking for, is to approach it that way. Promote best practices. And we want to make sure that we're addressing emerging needs strategically with new services, ensuring a positive impact without worsening existing issues. So we're trying to not attract new homeless individuals to the area. We're trying to basically take care of the homeless that we have. I'll move on to the data page. These are numbers. It says homeless response team data. So I'm gonna look at slide 8. Oh, and I didn't put October numbers in there. We are closer to 30,000 individual correspondents. Now, those are individual correspondents. If Logan is a homeless individual, I may reach out to him 20 or 30 times. So that counts as a correspondence. So if I call or text or email, that's what we consider to be a correspondence. Sometimes we'll call Logan once, but most times it's going to be, hey, how you doing? What can we do? What's going on? And so we count those as correspondence. So it's not 30,000 individuals. So just so you know that. We do presentations like this. We can come to your church. We can come to Rotary Club. We can come do whatever. If you feel like there's an audience that wants to learn about what we're doing, be happy to come and present. 9 in detox. We've got 19 people out. I think we've got a little bit more. I think it's closer to 25. We've issued the housing vouchers. You can see the hours spent, and we've spent closer to $45,000 in special assistance to get people some services. The $4.2 million has a portion of that where we can help people with certain assistances depending on the circumstances. And to keep in mind, as I go quick, I'm leaving stuff out. This money has to last until 2030. So when everybody says 4.2 million, oh my God, you're rich. No, that's what you spread that out over 7 years, basically. That's really minimal. And to get the people out on the streets is really so. And four counties, the population is 365,000. Sarasota, where this model was, they have a population of 65,000. So 365,000, 4 counties in rural. That's what we're doing with this program. And nobody else is doing it. We're the only people doing it, like in the whole Southeast. So everybody's watching us, and we're building planes as we fly. Let's talk about pit count. You see winter and summer pit counts. What's pit? Point in time counts. This is what the federal government uses to basically is the census for homeless population. This is done in January. Federal governments, they're good. They're so good. They said, look, let's do this at the end of January when you do your homeless count. Why is that not a good time to do a pit count, in my opinion? Well, at the end of the month, it's always at the end of the month, a lot of our homeless population gets their benefits, or if they're on Social Security, or if they're on disability. We have a lot of people who are homeless, who are on these things, and they get their money. They get their money at the end of the month. Then they'll go spend a week in a hotel. That's what a lot of our folks do. They get their compensation. They'll go spend a few days in the hotel and then go back out on the streets. So if they do that and they get their check early, they're not on the streets. They're in the hotel. You can't count them. So the numbers are skewed. It's also the winter time. It's cold and we have transit. So we have 2 pit counts. We decided, well, I wonder what that number is like in the summer. So we did a summer pit count. This was unofficial. We're the only one in the state that did it. We did the summer pit count, and the numbers were almost identical. It's insane. So it was fascinating. So you can see it's really small. I'm sure I need readers now. My eyes going so bad. 215. That's unsheltered. Those are folks. When you think about people who are on the streets, like under the bridge or unsheltered, truly unsheltered, 215 was the count in the winter. In the summer, it was 206. Now that we know we don't count them all, you can't, but it's that gives you an idea, and that's for all 4 counties. So that's a lot of people have a misconception about how many homeless there are. They think there are thousands and thousands in our region. Not. This is not a true number, and we know that we have folks living in cars. We have folks living in shelters, like if you think of Exodus, if you think of Salvation Army, you think of some of the domestic violence shelters. Those are people who are they're housed, so they're not on the streets. So those folks kind of fall in a different category. So, but we think it's probably a better estimate. It's around 500 to 600 that are in our 4 county region that we would say that are there. That are either couch surfing and then going to the streets and then coming out and then going back in, going to detox, coming back out. You know what I mean? And so it flows. And there's, I'm turning the page, I'm on slide 11, you can see some of the pictures. We work very closely with our nonprofit organizations, our nonprofits in our region. I know a lot of us in the room are from this area, I'm from the region as well, from Caldwell County. And we have big hearts, and we give very philanthropic, and we truly partner with them and hope to be able to assist them in any way we can. We want to think of ourselves as an extension of a lot of the folks that work in the space. And they help us do the pit count. We help them do the pit count and get all the numbers. Our website, we have a website, it's homelessresponse.org. It's on the last page of this too. And I'll make sure you guys have this, if you have a digital copy to share with the council. And you can click on the website. We have all the resources, food, housing, detox by county. And it's specific just to our regions. So if you see somebody who is homeless, or somebody in your church, or nonprofits that work in this population, please send them to this website and see if we're missing anything. It's very comprehensive, so it should have, you can go in there and click on the county, and it'll show you the county. So if you're homeless, you can see this as a place to get a resource. But if you're out there in the community trying to help, you can also click it and say, hey, go here. We're trying to do this. It should all be on one space. And if we're missing anything, again, please feel free to share it. Police ride-alongs, we do this several times. We're riding around with, we've done Hickory, we've done Morganton, we've done Lenore, we've done Conover, we've done Newton, and we try to ride around. We work closely with code enforcement as well, who does a lot of stuff, who knows where these camps are, and we work closely with, they go and break up a camp. We try to go and have a team member there who can go and say, well, hey, you're getting ready to leave. What can we do to help you get off of this, get off the drugs, get off the streets, or get you in the house, or something like that. We try to do it instead of just saying go away. We try to, you gotta be proactive in order to help deal with these effectively. It's getting cold this summer. We did a warming homelessness through warming centers, strategic ways to be strategic about warming stations. When it gets cold, a lot of people want to open their doors to the homeless populations. Again, big hearts, great community, but you got to be very careful when you do this, because we had several churches and a lot of organizations open their doors, and it does not meet fire code. And we have a lot of this homeless populations are on drugs. If I can tell you horror story after horror story of people that did this in some of their homeless populations, were putting out they're smoking meth, and they put the pipe in the trash can about on fire, and about caught the whole building on fire. It would have destroyed that church and killed the people in there. And it would have been the church's fault, because they were liable, because they weren't supposed to have those people in there. So your heart's in the right place. You just need to talk to your local officials about, like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do I need to do? What's the best way? Talk to your fire marshal, talk to your local police, talk to your firefighters, and let them say, you could do it if you did this, or no, don't do that. Look over here. So it's very, very important that we did it. We had, during this event, we had the churches up there. We had the building code inspectors. We had the police officers. We had outreach folks. And it shows how important it is. You really need to think through it before you do that. You also have some homeless people that you do not want mixed together, right? And we have pedophiles out there. We have some bad people that don't need to be mixed with children. And so not all of them, I'm not trying to scare them, and that's a minority, I would say, but there's some, you need to have systems in place before you think. So please think about that before you just open up your doors to let folks in. And talk to us, call us, we'll help you, guide you through that. I'm going fast, almost done. A lot of this, there's a 15 to 16. Those are some accomplishments we made about how we report data into the system. There's a national database called HMIS that allows you to put this data in. We feel like having true numbers is critical in order to deal with the situation. If you know truly what you're dealing with, then we can have better solutions. And if we truly know what we're dealing with, we can also go out from a regional approach for funding to help provide more services to the nonprofits who are typically on a skeleton crew and are having to get by from month to month. We want to be able to help them and make sure that they're up and about. And I think if we do this with true numbers and good data, we'll be able to bring in more funding to be able to help to upgrade the population. Challenges, we had everybody knows about Helene, that has caused a shift on the homeless population in the west. So we've encountered some folks that have moved down from the mountains in Boone. We had several people, there were several trailer parks and people that were flooded out, and now some of them have migrated down into the area. We're seeing people come up from Asheville and from the Old Fort area into McDowell County. So again, we're just now seeing the beginning of that, the people that have been displaced. And we also dealt with, we'll monitor that over time. We're only, 8 weeks in since that disaster. So we also had that tornado in Claremont was fascinating. There were actually people, the interesting thing about the Claremont disaster is it's crazy how we went through a trailer park. And we actually had homeless people that learned about the place where they had set up some disaster relief and all that other stuff that migrated to Claremont and moved into the disaster area because they knew there were resources there. And that is a thing. So homeless population, this is a smart crowd. So they know how to migrate and navigate to places where there's resources. And so that blew us away. We're like, you weren't here yesterday. And they're like, oh yeah, well and then we started asking questions, and then we looked at their information, and they were in a whole other county and worked their way up in there because they were giving out food and resources to them. Kind of smart, think about it. Challenges, the warming station, I talked about that. Localized viral social media events, that's when you get all these Facebook posts and they're like, it's crazy. At a local level, those are fun. Shelters closing. We're seeing some of our shelters that are shutting down and are becoming more of a transitional house, which means that they're going more for a detox or more for those types of specialized, where like they only do women, right? They only have women, like a domestic violence shelter, or they only do men who are doing this. And so instead of just being an open shelter for anybody to come in, they're getting a lot more focus. And affordable housing. We know that that is also an issue. As you guys get that too, things up here for housing, and housing is an issue everywhere that we go. And again, I think the hurricane is going to definitely have a reset, and there's going to be a migration within the West. We have no idea what to check out. Goals for 2015, you'll see some of this. Better tools. We hope to beef up the website and have some mapping tools and stuff where you guys can see the data about what we're seeing out there. Day one family funds. We were fortunate enough to receive day one family funds, which is another $235,000 to be able to assist folks who are homeless with who are just getting in homeless with down payments, deposits for car repairs. We can get them closed to go on a job interview. We can do all sorts of really cool things with these monies. This will go into effect for us January 1. So we'll have those counted to be able to disperse amongst our 14. Last page, you'll see the team. That team is awesome. I just call myself, I'm the hype man. That's all I do. The true heroes of this program are right there. You see Chastity, James, Rick, Mary, Che, Rachel. Chastity is our housing guru. James is a pastor. He's the guy that the police officers call when they see a homeless person that they can't deal with. He did that for like 15 years. He's also a pastor. Rick Smith is a pastor, also worked in mental health at a hospital. Mary Kendrick right there, used to be homeless and was addicted and helps deal with women who've dealt with domestic and sexual abuse. She's great. Che Moore used to work here at Burke Health Department, and Rachel Dillingham is one of our young ones who is going to get her master's with Norine in counseling for homeless. That's just a hard goal. These guys are awesome. You can see all of their stuff right there. These guys know what they're doing. They deal with it every day, and they're fantastic. Last thing right there is homelessresponse.org. That's the website. Please check it out. Are there any questions?
You can breathe now.
Yeah, I'll try to go fast, I'm sorry. Yeah, any questions from
When we encounter a
Yes,
homeless person,
yes, sir.
I call you.
Yeah, you can actually.
Okay.
You don't, I would say you could call me if you want, but the folks on and their contact information is on the, that website. Every one of their numbers, they have a cell phone number and they have an email. You can call them and
They will come out and talk.
they
to
will
the
come
homeless
out.
person.
They come out and meet with the person and say, what's going on? What do you need? How can I help you? And then they will follow that person and they will run if they're going to Burke United Christian Ministries and say, if that's what they need, that's what they need. If it's a woman who needs a domestic violence situation, we've dealt with children, we've dealt with elderly, we deal with mental health, we deal with abuse. It's amazing. Every story is so different. Not a single person that they meet with has the exact same story. And I think a lot of people clump everybody into one thing and like, oh, you're homeless, you got there, you deserve it. And I can tell you stories, but it's long as you guys are picking out playground equipment. So yes, sir. Call us. Anybody here can call us and we will reach out.
These people here are the ones.
Yes, sir. Those are the ones. They will, whoever, depending on the need, will be the person that will be assigned to go out. No, they usually go out in twos and we'll go out and interact. And there's usually a camp involved. It's usually not just one individual. They're usually a part of a group of folks. Absolutely. Be happy to help.
Very interesting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for the opportunity.
You have a lot of veterans.
You do have veterans. Veterans and our soft spots are vets and children. If there's a child involved, we jump on it fast and do everything we can. If there's a veteran involved, same way.
Children with special needs.
Any child, we do whatever we can.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Okay, 8C, which we added, is about the erection of a sign on town property. And, you have anything to say?
Yeah, when I first started this, I went to the church and I was told, you do whatever you need to do. If anybody gives you any problem, you come see us. So I ordered the sign, had it made. The other day I went to Terry Ennis to make sure, and he said he brought it up to the church Sunday and they voted it down. They don't want it nowhere near their marquee or anywhere in that vicinity. So I got with Logan today and we're asking, can we put it on town hall side of the street? There's still a 10-foot easement. There's plenty of room to put it there. It'll be diagonally straight across from our driveway. The problem we're having is the old sign shows up to go to the old museum and it's still there. So everybody comes to the Parkhurst building and they can't find the museum. If they're coming this way, the arrow lets them turn in the next driveway. But if they're coming from Food Line headed this way, the arrow's telling them to turn in at Parkhurst. And then they're calling, hey, we can't find you. Where's the museum at? So we had new signs made up. And we were asking to put them straight across from our driveway on the town hall side of the parking lot. And it's two signs that'll be a V. They're 30 by 3 foot, 3'6". And they'll say, there's pictures of them posted in there. We had them done up professional. They're really nice. They're not gaudy signs. They're good looking signs. But now because of the church turning us down, we're asking, can we put them on the town hall side? And I don't want to go get 811 involved in anything in that till we get approved exactly where you guys would let us put it.
Are you talking about in the corner of the property over there?
Well, we were going to put it right in front of the church's marquee, but they don't. I guess their populations, their congregation's way low, and they thinking if we put a sign out there that takes away from their sign, that they're not going to get any more. I don't know. That's my theory, but now they don't want it anywhere there. If we move it down any further this way to our property line, we're in the same predicament. The arrow's gonna tell them to turn at Parkhurst Building instead of at the museum. The only way to fix the problem is put the sign on that side of the street and put it in front of our driveway.
I'll make a motion, to go ahead and let them put the sign up.
Well, and they would have to work with Caitlin on the permitting for it, but as long as you're good with it. Basically, what I wanted to make sure of is that the council's okay with us putting it on town property for that.
Yeah, I don't know what problem with it.
Okay, we have a motion. How does everybody feel? Everybody, all in favor? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Logan, I'll give it to you and we'll go over it. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, consider approval of resolution regarding town networks and devices usage. Okay, what have y'all been doing?
It's all
Why
red.
is
We
this on
blame
here?
Rick. This guy right here.
Thank you.
It was a, yeah, this is a.
Y'all been ugly?
It's an honest mistake.
Alice, you might want to tell them, but essentially it's a top down, someone at the state initiated it. This is every local government in the state. The legislature, I guess, felt the need to formally address it and do a top down thing, but I think Alice has the details.
Yeah, it was just a bill that, everybody has to come up with, a policy. Basically, the bill is most of what the resolution is, and then it's left to each individual local government to come up with a penalty. There has to be one, doesn't say what it has to be. So I, called the listserv, I got 2 people that actually provided a policy, and I picked the best out of both of them.
Need a motion on that. Make a motion to approve resolution regarding town networks and device uses.
All in favor?
Rick, you're gonna be able to say like now.
Yeah,
He's got till January
just,
That does have-
just for clarification, I wasn't joking.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
right.
I'm just sure, yes.
Be careful, that's our spectrum network.
Okay, let me see, I'm in that place here. Yes, discussion on events / facility promoter position.
So I have included the job description that we've looked at in the past. It was brought up that a couple council members wanted to discuss this, so we do have the job description, but it's an open discussion for you all. Part-time, full-time, contracted. How do you want to move forward? We did ask the events committee tonight, based on a lot of what they discussed and what they were looking at. Their recommendation was a part-time position. So that has a lot to do with liability insurance, because if you do contract it, you're probably gonna want them to have insurance, and that's gonna cut out a lot of your folks who are just part-time workers, who don't have a company per se. Now, it would open you up to any events person who has a company, but I think a lot of what's in your job description, they're not gonna cover. So I can go through the job description, or if you've went through it, if you have questions, recommendations, comments, kind of where you sit with
Well,
it.
this necessary right now.
I think you're getting close to a point where you're gonna have your
Considering
facility.
how we pushing for it back December of last year, yeah, I think
I
it's time.
wasn't pushing for it. I wasn't pushing for it. I was gonna wait till we get all this stuff built, everything done, before we spend any more money on that
I
floor.
think it's time to, put together
I think it's time to put together something for the simple fact that the stage is done, basically. And everything's coming together, and they start this,
We
they need to be,
pay for everything, yeah.
no, that's true.
That's what I'm saying. We
But
need to
there-
hire somebody, we're not gonna,
We need to start looking at it, whether we
Yeah.
hire them yet or
like I
not.
said,
We need to-
you look at it, but I'm saying about hiring them now. I mean, most of this stuff's already planned. I mean, we've done one over, and everyone is gonna have it.
And looking over these two, job descriptions. The only thing that I see that I'm not crazy about is I would rather them not have anything to do with like office duties. I'd like for them to be strictly events oriented because I do not want this person to be turned into a gopher, so to speak. They're strictly events and everything related to events.
I think when we talk about this position, we need to look at all the things that we have available in town. And, all the properties that's gonna be rented, all the events, like the Christmas parade, Easter egg, farmer's market, all that stuff. But we need somebody that's gonna be able to go out there and shake the bushes and try to line up people for auditorium. Like go to the schools, go to the elementary, to the high schools, to the middle schools. Because I think you're going to Lenore Ryan right now, something like that.
Yeah, the musical, East Burke, whatever, the musical.
You got East Burke, you got Freedom, you got different, all the schools in the area that are going to LR.
Yeah.
That they don't need that larger facility, but we've got something that they could use. And the bushes need to be shook.
Yeah.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, we've got nothing ready for use right now.
No, not yet.
Well, that's what I'm saying, I don't say they won't do it right now, but whatever. That's just my opinion.
Can I make a statement from the events committee? As far as the committee, Sonia and I and Ron are part of that, part of our committee's not here. But we feel like that it would be very beneficial to have somebody, at least a contract somebody, a part-time somebody, just simply because if we're looking at planning a grand opening for the splash park and things like that, you kind of have to plan ahead and get things together. I'm not saying that you hire them today, but possibly the first of the year to get things ready because you want to make it really top notch and very impressive with the community. But that's just a recommendation from the events committee. We feel like that it would be beneficial to the town to have somebody that is a part-time individual. We don't think there's enough here for a full-time anybody to do it. But I think there's a lot of events coming and it comes quicker than you think. Just coordinating even the Christmas parade was,
We've been working on this since June.
since June. And if January, you're looking at spring, you're looking at March. And then we discussed some other events today, even to kind of promote the little farm events, when they have the little event, what do you call it?
The farmer's market.
Farmer's market, because I don't think there's been a lot of events and vendors there to really get that promoted for the spring and to get a lot more activities coming, because we have found out just with our rock and roll people, we have people coming from everywhere just to be a part of rock and roll. We have them from McDowell County, we have them Burke, Caldwell, Alexander, we got Lincoln, we got Nebo, we got wherever those people are from way up yonder. Jefferson. They're coming because there's no other program like ours anywhere around. And that's just us. That's not including everything else. We're packing out downstairs. We're having the first and third Friday nights of every month. We're probably having, depending on the situation, 60 to 90 people there every 2 weeks because the need is there and the request is there. And they want to know what else is going on in Hildebran. They don't mind coming. They'll come and be a part of that. And so just getting that available and giving somebody to help coordinate that, I think would be beneficial to everybody here. But that's just a recommendation that we have from our committee that we feel like it would be ready to get things started after the first of the year to promote the new park that's coming, the auditorium and all that, so that we can use the equipment and everything that we have here.
Well, my thing is, as far as like the stage and the auditorium, when you start promoting them, you're not gonna be able to promote them today and have it open tomorrow, be able to go
Exactly.
tomorrow.
Yes.
You gotta reach out to them. It's gonna take a little time to get them.
Well, and a lot of folks plan their events like a year out. So
Year
you
out,
got,
Absolutely.
you know, if they're doing something this fall and they don't, and it's annual, you know, you're not gonna see them again until next fall, so.
And we need somebody that can work with, like Comma and, the Royal Hill Center and places like that, because they may have people coming that need a smaller facility, which we could fill that bill perfectly.
Well, and that's kind of, there's like three aspects to this position that, from a staff point of view, that I'm looking at. So the first, obviously, is in the title, the events. If you look at the proposed events page, you know, I don't know if we're trying to do like a monthly, you know, if we're looking to do a monthly event, have at least something once a month, you know, have some, but proposed, just in terms of what we've got here, you at least have 11 different categories of events. So your Easter egg hunt, your craft show, those would be spring events. So you've got 2 for the spring months for that quarter of the year. You've got your farmers market. And I think Sharon mentioned this, and this is something that I've noticed, Alice has noticed, Rick has noticed, Mark has noticed. The energy that's put into that isn't, we have one vendor, maybe two. So if you, you know, you'd either want to go one of two directions, cancel it or put some energy into it, put a person into it and try to build that up.
Well, my thing on that part, if you're gonna go there, my thing is when you're having it on Tuesdays and you're shutting down at 1 o'clock, most people in the area work.
Well, maybe you work.
When your people work, if you'd have it in the afternoon and when they're getting off from work, you're gonna have more people come out. The more people you get to come to buy, the more people are gonna come set up.
Exactly.
What, and that's the thing.
Catch-22, because vendors don't want to do afternoons, they prefer mornings. And you can, like, we've had 5 to 10 vendors, but nobody shops them, so then they don't come back because nobody bought anything from them.
It's gonna need to be a
Most of them
ongoing.
working.
Because people working that stuff.
I mean, they don't want to sell nothing, they set up in the mornings, but to be able to sell, they need to set up when their people
When
do.
the people here, the people,
That's why people buy a restaurant.
you're gonna have to meet the public.
You're
Not
gonna
meet when the vendor wants to set up, you're gonna have to meet when the public's gonna be there to purchase
It's not
from that.
compete with Hickory and other surrounding ones too, so you kind of have to work along that too, but.
And
yeah, I
that's,
get it.
well, and that's something with whoever you hire, that's gonna need to be their job, is trial and error, figure it out, you know, what's gonna work, when's gonna work, what works for the vendors, what works for high selling times. But I think you need some energy into it, or you need to call it and say, this is not, you know.
I know we're in the farmer's market, we actually had like strawberry days, peach days, watermelon days, and we would bring people in here.
Yeah.
And we had vendors coming in here, you know, like seasonal fruits just have like a special day for it, and that was all going when we first started it, and all that's gone away.
Well, we have vendor events that we do and I serve 5 counties. So Burke, Catawba, Alexander, McDowell, and Caldwell. And we do events for families and stuff, and we do it in the afternoon. So I agree with you 100%. It's usually from 4 to 6 or 4 to 8. And we got more vendors than we got places to put them part of the time. So I think if you advertise that this is an afternoon event, you'll get a lot more vendors than you would
Well,
get.
you
ordinary.
advertise it to get the people in here, you get the people in here, then the vendors see, hey, they talk to this one, they talk to that one, they done really good, they had a lot of people there. They're gonna be more wanna come then.
We can do other towns, what time of day do other towns do it?
Well, Hickory does one on Saturday morning, but people all work on Saturday.
Well, and
We're
you're,
doing one on Wednesday afternoon too.
I mean, I'm sure right there, I know Saturday morning they do.
Like getting up restaurant, you advertise breakfast. Go up to 7 o'clock, they ain't breakfast for working men, he's at work at 7 o'clock. You gotta open up early for breakfast, that's brunch.
There's a lot of work needs to be done, and based on that, I think the position should be full-time and should be part-time. We need somebody that's gonna be able to put the energy into it and not worry about, I've gotta leave till 14 hours is up. They got something they can work on, and plan on, and build a relationship with other people. Because it's gonna take more than just a few hours a day to get all this stuff set up in place.
Well, what our suggestion was from the event committee is we start out as part-time.
Yeah.
then we see how that
That's what I say
progresses.
until we get everything ready.
And then you give that opportunity to increase it to a full-time position.
Leave
And
it
that was
open
our
to move it to
recommendation, was to
full-time.
start out as a part-time.
Wants to develop there.
And then as time goes on and as more facilities that are available and things, then you can advance that as you need to. But not, like you were saying, not wasting the town's money on a full-time person right off the bat, but start out as a part-time. And then add accordingly was just a recommendation from the event committee.
How much do you think they're gonna get done in 14 hours? or
Oh, you'll be
15 hours?
surprised. Depends on who you
I
got.
might be surprised,
You would be surprised, yeah.
because there's a lot of people that has to be talked to, a lot of different venues.
Well, we have a couple of,
We
have a couple of individuals in mind, one in particular that would blow your socks off of what this young man can do in the period of time that you give him. His name's Eddie Marlowe, Sergeant Eddie Marlowe. He just retired from the Hickory Police Department. Longview Police Department. He organized, at Longview, he's organized all kinds of things. But he organized the, night, what was it, the National Night Out at Longview Recreation Center. And he had that thing packed. He's done all kinds of events and things with even the Hmong Society, the Hispanic Society, he works a lot with the domestic violence group. He retired from the police department and, would be a great somebody to start out with part-time. He may not be somebody you'd want down the road for a long time, but through the police department, he has resources and information and connections like you wouldn't believe.
Well, I think they say we need connections. Another thing we need to think about too, we're up fixing up all this stuff, we're gonna have more upkeep, we can go expense, where you're putting on WFA.
Yeah.
So I'm saying,
As
we're
far
gonna
as,
have more expenses going out every month, keep up all this stuff.
and hopefully the income will go up with it.
Yeah, that's what you're hoping. And Eddie did graduated from East Burke, so he's a hometown guy from Burke County.
He may be the person we want, but we can't just give it to somebody.
No, I'm just saying, he's just good, I'm just saying, he's just a good somebody to think about.
Yeah.
To tell you, a good candidate that y'all could kind of consider and talk to, because I know he's got, when I need something, I call Eddie. Because he's got hookups with people. He just helped us back right after the hurricane. We actually did a fashion show, and 8 of our individuals with their special needs were at the Hickory Furniture Mart, and we had 150 people in attendance. And he organized that whole event.
He can apply, I think we need to go out.
But I mean, there may be other people too. But I'm just saying, he might be a good, because he knows the town and the people. But that would just be somebody we would like to submit as at least a recommendation to go along with some of you guys.
So based on that, I would like to recommend us going out for jobs, going out for applicants.
Of course, we have to go through that testing process.
Oh, yeah.
To be on the interview committee.
Moving along.
Okay,
Well, yeah, well, and that's kind of the thing, like before we move on, I guess I took us off on that road, but, there's the events themselves, right? Like, there's kind of three portions to this. The second one is promotional responsibilities. So we have these facilities, there's outside organizations, whether that be a private group, nonprofit group, dance teams, theater groups, the churches, if they want to use your outdoor amphitheater for events. So you've got some facilities to promote. The third one is smaller, but it's going to be the administration piece, working with the events committee, planning these events, coming to council, and then doing some minor office work, not like as Jody said, but just someone who's in the office when they need to be. But now I'm going to be honest with you. If you've got as many events, some of these events, just to kind of go through them too. The Easter egg hunt, that's an existing event. We've done that last year. That one's a lighter event. The craft show, we've done those in the past. The farmers market, we're doing those. But then You get some events we haven't done before, a July 4th event. The festival, we've done that in the past, it's been 10 to 12 years, but whoever would be coming in would be taking that over, kind of starting from scratch. The parade, we do that one every year. That one's not as much of a figure it out. Not gonna take as much time. A Christmas tree lighting. So we've kind of talked about it a little bit. Well, currently we don't have a Christmas tree, but maybe one thing to do would be, you know, if you get your park set up, you've got some space somewhere for maybe a town Christmas tree to a Christmas tree lighting. These are small things, smaller events, but still that are gonna take time. Maybe you do them, maybe you don't, maybe you add them incrementally each year. To see where you're at, like with where Sharon or where Mike, Councilmember Stroop are is, you know, part-time, full-time. I think if you're gonna go full-time, you kind of got to add them all. If you go part-time and want to build, kind of build it up and add them on one at a time, you know, definitely, I think that's definitely the part-time route. Then the other idea too is when you have other groups in the community that are doing an event, having a town presence there. Like when the senior center or library does something, or maybe one of your churches or one of your nonprofits, if it's open to the public, having maybe a town presence available. Those are kind of what I'm foreseeing as goals or objectives. But then it's, okay, so then if you get to a point where you agree with that we need to hire somebody, then it's what's the timeline? Are you looking to have someone at the first of the year, like Sharon mentioned? You know, kind of what's your, because it will take, and the fact that you're in the holiday season, so you're in a little bit of a messy season for people being busy. But do you want to put, normally you'd run applications for what, 30 days? Probably at a minimum. Assuming you can get that ad together and publish in a week to 10 days, you know, you might can start doing interviews first of the year. You do 2 weeks and then you got to figure them out a start date. I would say the earliest is probably mid-January to February is when you're looking to actually legally have someone down as hired and started. The other caveat too is, okay, well, if they are going to do office work, I'm sure they're going to have some time, a lot of time where they're out of the office. But when they are in the office, the only consideration is, well, you got to have a space for them. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 to 12, Caitlin has the one space we would have available. So you would probably want to stagger this person on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule outside of any events that they're doing. And it would be a little flexible. One week they may be at 24 hours and the next week they're at 8. I think the goal is to be 16 to 19 with meetings and office hours. But if they're going to have an event that's 9-10 hours in a day, and then they're prepping for that event that week, the goal really for us, you start to hit some thresholds at 1,000 hours where you have to offer retirement benefits. And then you go to full-time, certain hour amount, you have to start offering insurance. So the goal is roughly just under 1,000 hours. And to kind of, that your 16 to 19 hours per week fits that mold. But is that kind of what, just to make sure I'm clear, like if we go out to hire somebody, is that kind of what you're envisioning as, you know, we have the promotional responsibilities, we have the events we want to put on ourselves, and then working with the events committee to kind of keep this committee up and going?
My biggest concern, like I said, with these descriptions you have, there's several things in there talking about cross-training with office duties. I just don't want it to get out of control and all of a sudden he's running errands to the Hobby Lobby or whatever in the office.
Really?
Last one we had.
Huh?
Like the last one we had.
What?
Like the last one we had. Running around, driving around.
Well, and no, they'll be super, like, I will make sure that their responsibility stays in the realm of promoting events. The other thing too is if it's mentioned in the description, but having them tour the facilities. That's something like when you have this auditorium set up with your sound equipment, your lighting equipment, if you have a new group come in, that's something they're gonna have to take them over there, show them how to use it, you know, maybe once or twice, sometimes.
Right.
So, you know, that's really where I see this position being.
Okay.
Not more so just kind of in a chair in the office, but promoting your facilities, working with outside groups, being present. If that's where you're at, then you know, what's your timeline? Is it hire ASAP and try to get them in here January, February? We do have the festival and that's in October.
January, but I want to get them in here fairly quickly because not only can this person do a promotion and planning, they can also do like a web page, you know, auditorium, all of our facilities rent, show a calendar of events, things like that. You know, that's something else that they could do. And if we run short on space, we probably got some room in here somewhere. If we had to, we could put somebody in here. So I'm not worried about the space so much because we've got this facility anyway. But yeah, I would like to get them in here fairly quickly. I still think we need to be full-time.
Well, here's the next question. Are you gonna want them present throughout the duration of events at the auditorium? You're talking about showing people the light board and the audio equipment. I don't know if you just want people just messing with that without somebody supervising them.
So I don't have to be here.
They don't have to, if you can't afford to keep fixing it, they mess it up.
Depending on who it is, if it's somebody that, you know, is regularly rents and knows what they're doing, that's one thing. But if you get these groups that come in and want to start fiddling with stuff.
And after any of the facilities that we have rented out, this person can also go and follow up behind them, make sure that they didn't do any damage, they did what they were supposed to do, part of the contract. If not, then we could, you know, correct that. But we need this person to look after all of it from the beginning to the end.
It may be to get a really good person, they would have to.
It's gonna be hard to find somebody really, really good part-time.
That would have insurance and all that.
Since we have the outdoor auditorium, so to speak, you know, somebody's gonna have to monitor all that, the lighting, the car shows once a month. Somebody's from the town's gonna have to be here to facilitate that.
There's a lot of things we could have this person do that's gonna help out the whole town. And as far as being part-time and full-time, if they're good, they'll learn to keep quickly. I mean, with, you know, the rental rates and stuff like that, making sure our facility is not damaged, taken care of, I think that they would pay for themselves. What we need.
Okay, action to be determined.
Well, let me put it to you this way. If we don't decide tonight, you're kicking that can down the road at least 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're then you would be looking at hiring mid-February to probably March. Just understand what it starts to delay is some of these, the bigger events. Like the parade, I think
We got it.
that's not over. But if you're looking to next summer, Grand Look Farmers Market, if you're any of your spring events. Now the Easter egg hunt, not a big deal. A spring craft show, maybe they can get that put together. The festival, honestly, that's going to be your big one. You need somebody who's, you know, you can do it and you can do it well. You know, the time, the energy, the amount of people you want here. You know, a lot of times those folks, again, they schedule a year out. So then you're starting to cut that timeline down to 4 or 5 months. Not saying it's not possible, just understand that first festival may not look the same if you give them more time than less time. I know that's vague, but the more time you give them, the more time they're gonna have to do it right. So do we wanna decide tonight? Do you want another month, or how do you wanna proceed?
What's the pleasure of the council?
Well, I wouldn't mind, as far as my opinion, I wouldn't mind going ahead and going out for applications, putting it out, try to get somebody in here first couple, 3 months of the year. And I'd like to see it being full time. But I'm not sure what everybody else wants. That's what I want.
I'd rather go part-time until we see how it goes. Then go full-time with it. See what kind of job we do first.
That's what I'd like to see too.
Because when I first got on council, we had to get rid of one, and you know, all she done riding around, whatever there. I said, you can do whatever you want to. I'm just saying, I think it ought to be part-time. Till we get everything running up and going, then they see what they can do. That's my opinion.
So what you're saying, go part-time and then make the option that it can go full-time if they're doing
If
what
they
they're supposed to
they
be.
do a good job, whatever, and stay busy, yeah, do it full time.
Because your fiscal year will come around in June,
Jill.
and you could look, or July, rather, and you could look. At least we get them in here and get them started, then we could look it up and if they're doing what they need to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
That was our recommendation from the event committee.
All right. Is there a motion in there somewhere?
Or a couple motions.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and look for a part-time with options to make it full-time. See how they do, how they work out.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed?
We did have $20 to $22 an hour. That'll probably be a budget amendment at some point. Is that, we had it at 18 to 20, but if you really, even part-time.
It's acceptable.
Probably gonna end up having to be more than, so anything like $15 an hour is about anywhere. If you want somebody that's exceptional in the field, you don't have to pay for it.
We're currently
If
at
you
20
bring
to,
them in full-time, you don't have to pay them dearly.
is 20 to 22 enough, or is that? Are you,
Start, I think
Good
so.
start, but
even if it's 22, you're okay with that?
All right.
that all.
Okay, November facilities report, that is in your packet. October tax reports, that is in your packet. October deputy reports, in your packet. Any questions on any of these? If not, we'll go on to committee reports. Technical Coordinating Committee, Transportation Advisory Committee.
I did not attend. I was meeting with Rick Funk at Splashpad USA at the time. They moved it up 2 weeks because of Thanksgiving.
Yes, and I didn't attend either. Yikes.
I can tell you what they discussed, or at least what was on the agenda. They discussed looking at division tier scores for prioritization for highway, aviation, and bike ped projects. They looked at category 5310 project applicants and 2023 traffic counts.
Western Fremont, Council of Government Policy Board.
Meeting tomorrow night.
Burke Economic Development,
I was out sick on that one.
Recreation and Tourism,
Nothing to report.
Water Resource Committee, VEDIC,
Karen said that November and December meetings will be held December the 5th.
Burke County Library Board of Trustees, we didn't have a meeting this month. Events Committee.
We're ready to go for the parade.
Hey, that's actually a good point. In terms of getting together, is everybody on council gonna be here Saturday the 7th at around 11, 10:30, 11? Starts at 1, but we'll start. Terry, the big question for you was, are you chauffeuring people around in the golf cart?
I messed up, put a taxi on my golf cart, and put a donation bucket in the front floorboard. Yeah.
We appreciate that a lot, sir. Thank you. And Brand Lingerfeld is our,
Brand has agreed to be the grand marshal. He will ride in a Iker Fire Department truck.
And we have to get Lowell with his name on it, so.
We are trying to make sure the band is still, the East Burke High School band is still attending. Okay, they have told us that they are.
There's an honors band going on at the same time, same date.
Who?
Honors band, that some of the band members are going to be in. But we haven't heard anything from the band director as far as her not showing up. But I did email her this morning just to kind of touch base.
What about, did ROTC come?
They are, they'll be here.
but right now we have no band.
Oh.
If
I tell you what,
If East Burke does not participate, we have no band.
That's pitiful to have
I
a
think
Christmas
so,
parade,
too.
and can't get a band to play.
I know, that, and that's upset us too.
Again, I've not heard that they're canceling, but yeah.
They do, but none of them, we.
Well, I've reached out to all of them.
All of them, Appalachian, LR, all the different bands,
Appalachian LR, the one out of Valdez,
drone and.
Drone. I did reach out to all of them.
We have a new Santa this year. It's his son, he passed away. Like 2 weeks ago. So his son's gonna step up and do it.
But this is actually the second Santa, because the original Santa passed away a few years ago, quite a few years ago, so this is like it's the second one we've lost. But, the business Santa Claus are already still able to do stuff.
All right, other business?
Yes, I got something to say on the other business. I'm sorry, I have the opportunity to speak just like everybody
Yes,
else.
you do, go ahead.
You know, about 4 years ago, we recognized our staff for the job they do. They put out all this effort, all the paperwork. And I'm not talking about one, I'm talking about all. That we gave a bonus 4 years ago to our staff for the job they've done. It hadn't been done since then. Logan, I know you put in a lot of extra hours. Rick, you put in a lot. Alice, you've done a lot of paperwork. Jared, you've had to check everything over and over and over to make sure everything was legal. I want to make a motion that we give a minimum of $1,500 bonus to each one of our employees, our staff.
Why don't we go ahead and have Gary in on that?
I'm good with that.
Don't be modest.
Now, if you don't want it, just let me know.
You can give it away, you know.
You can sponsor something at the park.
I mean, you know, we went behind closed doors and done this before, but I mean, why not talk about it, say it in front of them if we had said it behind them? And that's just my thing. I make a motion that we give them all a $1,500 across the board.
I think you deserve that.
Donation.
And something that I want to ask for as well. Last year, we gave each of our council appointed people a $25 gift card, showing them for their fuel or time that they spent. I would like to recommend us do that too. I don't know if we put it in the same motion or if it needs to be a separate motion. If it needs to be a separate motion, I'll make that motion.
I'm okay with the staff, I'm not okay with the gift cards.
Volunteers, yeah,
Yeah, that's what,
Yeah.
yeah. I ain't no problem with that.
that's for, the gas and the time they put in.
You might want to make them
One
separate.
motion,
Okay, let's
separate
do the
motion.
first motion first.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we give our entire staff a $1,500 bonus for the
Okay,
job they've done.
okay, all in favor? All right, thank you. Is there any other motions?
Budget amendment
for that.
Budget
amendment for that.
Oh,
I'll make a motion for the budget amendment for the bonuses.
all right, all in favor? Thank you.
And
Like it.
I like to make a motion to give each of the volunteers for the town that the council has appointed a gift card this year like we did last year.
I don't agree with that.
I made a motion so we can vote.
Okay, there's a motion. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you. Is there any other business?
Yes, several things. We're going on 9 o'clock, but I'll try to be quick. Christmas reservations, we were asked to move it to 5:30 due to holiday. I think we did this last year. I think we said 6 or 6:30 and they called and said, can you do 5:30? Is that doable? Is 5:30?
5:30, I'm good with them Fridays.
I'm sure I can eat.
Okay.
I can eat
If you're
anytime.
good, if you're good, I can do that.
I won't promise that my wife will be able to make it, but I will.
Only other thing, sponsorships. A lot of people want to sponsor benches. We already have 8 benches that have been sponsored. But for recognition purposes, the policy that we passed only starts to recognize people on the wall at $1,000. We looked at some others, Beth Holly that's done some presenting on the river trail in the park. She has worked with Glen Alpine. They start recognition at $100, like 100, 500,000. Is council acceptable to lowering the sponsorship wall to $100 per sponsorship. I do think you'll encourage more sponsors if you do that. But if you're acceptable to it. Yeah, it's currently at 1,000, unless you sponsor an item or
Yeah, you can lower it.
the $100 good, or doing, okay.
Is that all?
I'm done.
Announcements?
I'm not happy.
Uh,
If you're gonna single out volunteers, you need to do everybody. If you're gonna do one group, you should do all volunteers at the museum,
Council as appointed,
everybody.
that's the council as appointed. That's part of my motion,
Okay.
and I'll make the motion to adjourn.
okay, all in favor? Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, and I do appreciate.
Yeah.